Namaste, world raisers. So here I am in Varanasi at the Ravidas Park. So I absolutely love this park. It's one of my favorite places in Varanasi that I've been to so far. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'll just show you around here real quick. Yeah, beautiful, quiet. So I'll often come here and go barefoot, get grounded, walking in the grass. It's one of the few places I've found where there's nice, lush grass to walk in. So yeah, amazing place to come contemplate and reflect. So I came here, during the last month of my retreat. So I'm just coming out of a 4-month retreat. So some of you guys maybe noticed I fell off the grid again after my last video. So that was, right after Holi. Yeah, so it was the combination of the Maha Kumbh Mela. I was here for that. And then I went to Sarnath for a couple days. And then it was Maha Shivratri and then Holi. So much energy, so many, emotions and feelings and, stuff coming up that I obviously needed to work on. So after that, I was just wiped after Maha Shivratri. And then especially after Holi, so I needed to go into retreat. So I went into the 4-month retreat, and now I'm just coming out of it. So, and honestly, it was the best retreat I've done. So this is, I think, my 4th long-term 3-month plus retreat. So I've done 3 in Nepal, and now this one here in the most auspicious place, Varanasi, where the energies are just palpable. So we have the Kashi Vishwanath temple and then all the other surrounding temples. So it's very energetic and very conducive. And then just all the amount of people coming here from all over India and the world, to be on the Ganga, right? So the most holy river. And then doing their prayers and their offerings and their rituals and all of that, right? So the Ganga Arti. Every day, every night, every morning and every night. So there's so many prayers, so many meditators, so many practices, and that's, that does something to the environment. So the retreat was good, and it was transformative. So now I'm just figuring out how to be now, right? Because it's, there was definitely some part of the ego death that occurs. So this lingering suffering, is residual fading into the background, and it's a more of a peaceful blissfulness. So I'm like, okay, so what do I do now? Right? And of course, there's the calling, right? So my calling has always been, and I've known it for a long time, for 8 years now, since my retreat in the Himalayas. There was just a vision, right? And of course, I've always been, since I became spiritual, I surrendered onto Sri Krishna, almost 20 years now, right? And of course, Lord Buddha and Lord Jesus as well. And the reason for that is because, I got into the teachings of Dr. David R. Hawkins, and he calibrated the level of truth. So if you want to, you could look into that. And basically, Jesus, Buddha, and Krishna, they all calibrate as the highest level possible in human existence, right? So full incarnations of the divine, right? So where do you take that information, right? And then what do you do with that? Because they're still so divided. The world is just so divisive, right? Everybody's conflicting. So not so much, of course, the dharmic religions are different, right? Where they're more integrated and they're more peaceful. Like you can't even debate that. So I actually got into a debate with a Christian at a coffee shop the other day. And, I was asking him what he was up to in Varanasi, if he was checking out the temples and meditating. Oh, and he was pretty appalled and kind of like really resistant, and he almost thought it was evil. Like I could feel it in him, the meditation, right? And then during the debate came to the conclusion that he believes God is only external, and of course Jesus is the only way, right? And it's such a problem for keeping the vibration of the collective field, so low. There's so many people out there that think that their way is the only way. So there's, two religions in particular that I believe are a big problem. Like they're keeping the vibration like low, and they're holding in mind that people suffer in a way, right? If my way is the only way, and if you don't believe and change into my way, then you're going to hell. And it seems like it might be holy, and they think that they're inclusive, saying that, oh yeah, Christianity is inclusive because we welcome everybody, but at the same time very exclusive, because if you don't join us, then you're going to burn in hell. So the Dharmic religions aren't like that, especially Hinduism. So Sanatana Dharma is a way of life, right? Which allows people the freedom to choose their own path, right? And they're drawn to their own, traditions within the overall field of Sanatana Dharma, and within those you have the yogas. And the yogas, so the high ones, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Raja Yoga. So those, calibrate at the highest level of spiritual practices, right? So surrender unto God, meditation, of course, the knowledge, wisdom, so the spiritual texts, learning from gurus, and then karma, so action. So we got to be out there. So going forward, it's like, what is the hope for humanity? Well, geez. I think the biggest hope for humanity right now is Hinduism, right? Because Hinduism has the highest teachings, but at the same time, due to all the invasions and then the culture shock and change due to, British occupation, and then it's almost like Hindus, lost their sense of self, and then you have the caste system mixed in there. So I was very surprised about that when I came to India the first time. I thought it was just going to be a holy land and everybody was going to treat everyone with the utmost respect. Everybody was going to be spiritual, everybody's going to be kind and loving, and that just wasn't the case. And you see it here too, even now, so nothing's really changed. But at the same time, I think I see it in the younger generation where people are, starting to wonder and learn and research. And with the advent of the internet, it's possible now for people to dig to the truth. Because it seems like even within culture, people are very divided into their own groups, and sects, and of course the castes. So you can deny it all you want, but it's still there, right? And it causes people, it's a form of racism. So when you think about it, so nowadays on the internet, it's trending a lot where, Indians are making videos about the rest of the world being racist towards them, because there's so many Indians that are going abroad and traveling and visiting and then immigrating to foreign countries. And then, of course, they're still being themselves there, right? Which is very, self-centered in a way where they're not adapting to the culture as much as they would have, in the past, with more strict immigration rules where you have to, conform to the way of life of the places you're going to. So now Indians are bringing their own culture, which I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but it's it's less concerned for others. So the big hope is for once Hindus begin to practice their teachings more so and get into especially, the teachings on non-duality and oneness, and that we're all one in reality and we need to care about each other. So then in that sense, we can really, raise the field. It's about raising yourself. So you raise your level of consciousness into the higher levels of unconditional love, acceptance. We accept the world for the way it is, right? And a big part of that is seeing that it's perfect, right? It's the perfect manifestation of our collective level of consciousness, right? So why Hinduism gives me hope is because as the Hindus, come into this mindset shift, which is inevitable. That's another big thing that's being talked about online, especially like in the comment sections. You get in there, videos talking about civic sense, right? So garbage everywhere. The higher castes think that it's not their job to keep things clean. So you have like, a certain percentage, and I'm just looking around, I'm like, they can't keep up. I'm like, you can't expect a smaller group of people. I actually don't know how small they are, but like at the guest house I'm staying at, it's like maybe once a week where they come around and they got to sweep the whole street because there's not a designated spot, for the garbage and like, garbage bins. It's just people just, for the most part, throw it wherever. And then so the wind picks up and then it just, garbage everywhere. Or there was one day about a week ago where there was a flash flood, like not a super big flood, but just a ton of rain that rose, the water level in the streets to, at least a few inches. And then of course that spread the garbage all over the place. And so everything is a bit of a mess. And I'm not saying that needs to come from like a big movement, like here's the push. No, what needs to happen is the hearts and minds of people will change worldwide as we raise the collective field, which is why, I've been called to start doing these Om meditations. So I'm going to keep doing them. Like it's my calling to get people together to meditate. And then Om is the sacred vibration of the universe. It's within the sacred texts. It's in the Bhagavad Gita in particular, where Sri Krishna says that he's the syllable Om. So he's that vibration, right? So if we work on that, at the same time working on our own troubles, we're doing our spiritual work, we're going within, we're seeing what kind of negativity and defilements are in there, any sort of resentment, which was a big part of, my latest retreat. And then you come out of it like, whoa, like I'm definitely different. So then you got to integrate, because going into a long-term retreat, so focused on the internal, and it was silent, for the most part. I wasn't going out to, like I'd still go out, to, come to the park, come to the guts. Of course, you got to go, buy some supplies, water, etc., to survive. And then, of course, you got to eat. So I got to go out, and then also I was going to the gym because I got to maintain fitness. It's part of the journey. So body, speech, and mind. And you got to integrate all three. But and then really, and it feels different, right? So it feels different. So when we're talking about, in the New Age spiritual space right now, and spiritual communities, like in general, we're talking about, timeline splits and timeline shifting. And I think that's what needs to happen. And the sense is how you bring that out is through yourself, right? So when you get on your highest timeline, and then you inspire people to get on their highest timeline, and that's all about doing the spiritual work, finding your mission and your purpose, and then you pursue that, then you're bringing about a new timeline. Because of course we know about, especially in Hinduism, talking about parallel realities. So you step into the highest version of yourself. You inspire others to do the same. And then one way we could do that collectively is come together and chant Om, right? So that's my big wish and my hope. So if you guys want to join me, I'm going to try to get a little bit more regular. So this morning's Om is right on the Ghats, right? So we ended up at the Tulsi Ghat, and I didn't realize it, but just to the water, the Ganga's rising so much that you can only walk so far along the Ghats now. Instead, you got to go up, and around. So some places are just flooded completely. So anyways, I didn't want to go that far anyways. I just wanted to find a good spot to do my Om. So I ran into a few locals that decided to Om with me. So a couple groups. So Anyway, super fun. So really, really impressed with the young Hindu men. So yeah, a lot of them, are lost, but they're doing their thing. But when you look in your eyes and you connect, yeah, really spiritual, like really loving, really kind, and it's about that connection. So you bring that, you hope the best for them, you see them for who they are, and they connect with you. So that's what the world needs, is a higher level of connection. We got to let go of the duality of, which religion is better. You could say that honestly, that's the biggest problem in the world, is the judgment, right? So we got to look after ourselves. That's it. It's basically you, and God. So the biggest lesson there is when something comes up, and I wish I would have known this, because then, I would have been I would have been where I am now, but sooner, right? So when something comes up and you see a reaction and a hurt, or somebody triggers you, and then you feel this lack, like you're suffering, and then you dip into the lower levels of pain, suffering. Somebody criticized me, and this stems from lack, like you feel not worthy and not good enough. Well, that's the opportunity. That's the golden ticket, right? So what I learned recently is you got to pause when those happen, and you got to be joyful for them, because they're showing you what you need to work on. And then that's when you go into practice, and then you're like, oh, I got this problem. That's my problem. Like for me, it was always about being criticized. So even in the days of when we were doing reaction videos, even like negative comments would trigger me. And then Sabine, my ex, she was always criticizing me. And I see that now I wish I would have seen it sooner, but that was the greatest blessing, because that would have been what I need to work on, right? And then I could get over it, because that was my karma, right? So in Kabbalah, they call it tikkun, which means your soul's correction. So whenever something is triggering you or pissing you off or upsets you or makes you feel hurt or pain, coming from the external, you got to be like, perfect. That's my karma. I attracted that. And all of these events and all the people that come into our lives, it's like divinely orchestrated, because everything that happens is meant to happen. Because if it wasn't meant to happen, then something else would have happened. So if you can recognize it, and if you're fortunate enough, because even the spiritual teachings, they're going to come to you in doses. It's like I understood, karma, and I understood all these high spiritual lessons, emptiness, non-duality. But I guess I never understood what to do when a negative karma comes up. And a negative karma is going to be a hurt, a lack. So anyways, so that led to, really going into the practice of healing the wounds, right? So we're all coming in here with some wounds. And then the events cause us to see our wounds. Like when we're hurt, we're like, oh, I got to work on that. Okay, well, where's it coming from? Oh, childhood. And even before childhood. So it's actually said it's probably within Hinduism as well, Hinduism, Buddhism, Kabbalah, all the spiritual traditions, and even like New Age, is that we're choosing. We're choosing our parents. We're choosing our lifetime. It's all set up in advance to help us overcome this negative karma. So in that way, we can really rejoice. So we can't blame our parents, because we chose them to help us purify the karma that we're bringing into the world, right? So in that sense, you can really, really, really forgive and let go, but still do the work, right? You got to reparent the inner child, go to those events, really purify, meditate, contemplate, and then feel it, and then practice, and then really meditate on that. And then that's when the letting go can happen. I let go, I let go, I let go. Yeah, and then it starts to be surrendered. It starts to dissipate and go away. And then now, so coming out of retreat, I'm looking forward to what happens now, right? Have I truly purified? Because you're going to be tested. You know, your karma is going to be tested again, and then if something comes up, now I know how to deal with it, right? And I hope that you guys know how to deal with it as well. So, yeah, so I'm going to be back on the channel. I'm going to be making videos, so let me know what you guys want me to talk about. I'm going to do the Om. I'm going to try to get a more specific time. I think I might just, well, it's going to be spontaneous, but I'll try to stick to the 5 o'clock in the morning India time for, yeah, 1 month. So I leave here on August 8th. And then so we got one month. 1 month to raise the world. 1 month to get, who knows, see if we can get 1 million people. 1 million people oming together in 1 month. Like, let's set that as a goal. Because the thing is that in reality, when you dive into the highest teachings, you know, Krishna, Shiva, Har Har Mahadev, the ultimate source of absolutely everything in reality, yeah, it's beyond name, right? It's beyond form. It's cosmic. It's everything. It's omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, transcendent, and immanent. We're all part of it. So with the world being in chaos right now, let's see if we can dedicate ourselves. You raise yourself and you raise the world. That's what it's all about. And that's the only thing worth doing. And then you find your purpose and your mission. There's so many things that need to be done, you know. And I think India is the key. Like, the vision of India is just like, imagine, you know, the future, right? We get the mindset shift. Everybody raises themselves. Everybody's on their mission and purpose. So many people want to leave India. Well, running out of places to go that's any better. You know, the jobless market everywhere. People are hunting for jobs in Canada, I know for sure. All the Western countries, we're just full, right? Immigrants everywhere. So it's not good or bad, but then everybody's starving for jobs and work and homelessness and, you know, food lines. It's crazy. So that's not the answer. The answer is like, okay, we got to work on where we are, and the potentiality of India going forward is just majestic. I'm picturing it like clean, you know, secure, everybody's taken care of, everybody's at a higher level, and then the world, so it's going to raise the world, right? So the mind, yeah, once that mindset shift kicks in, and then eventually, yeah, it's going to be one of the biggest tourist hotspots for spiritual seekers, even more so, right? So, and I think it's necessary because people need that. People need access to the highest spiritual wisdom and pursue it. So, anyways, I know a lot of this was just rambling, but that's part of my journey, right? I need to get back to figuring out who I'm going to be now, right? Because, yeah, the next highest version of myself, there's always a highest level when you come out of a deep spiritual retreat. And the last retreats, I was never quite there. I was still stuck in the, you know, emptiness, like people-pleasing, nice guy. And I discovered that, yeah, during my childhood, I had codependent traits. So there was a self-love problem, right? I let people, you know, walk all over me. So now I got boundaries. So boundaries, so important. So spirituality is not about being weak. It's about stepping into your power, your authenticity. So I'm going to discover that for me, and I hope you guys discover that for you. So be strong. Like, think about the leaders in the past, like Arjun, Karna, Hanumanji. Do you think these, you know, these warriors would let people walk all over them and disrespect them? No. And yeah, and it sucks, but a big part of that, my journey with, yeah, with my ex was yeah, she didn't respect me. I don't think she ever did, right? So I was being kind, and that's the problem in relationships. So if you're going to get in a relationship or you are in one, you know, slowly shift the boundaries, you know, step into kindness. You still got to be kind, but at the same time, you got to slowly, you know, let them know that they can't treat you in certain ways. So, very high level of consciousness, respect one another, right? So I always thought that, you know, that getting triggered and then giving somebody the silent treatment, you know, that they were going to learn and grow from that, and that was going to help them evolve spiritually. Well, no, because it's not about them. They're being exactly how they need to be in order for you to do the work. And then once you transform, then there's the potential that they'll transform as well. So that being said, I'm very, very happy for my ex, and then that was a big shift for me when I started sending her blessings, right? So you're going to the point where you're praying for the capacity to be able to forgive, because that was my main spiritual practice, was unconditional love and forgiveness. And then I was given the greatest test of all time, and I got to say that I passed. So I passed the test, right? And that's a big deal. That is a big deal, to be able to forgive. And then not only that, to be able to bless them. I wish them the best, and I wish everybody the best, and I bless everybody, and I bless the whole world, right? So digging up the past, any lingering resentments, yeah, you really got to let go. And then feel that pain and feel that hurt, but from the sense of not blaming, accepting it as your karma, and then feeling it so that it can be let go, right? And then chanting some mantras, letting go, feeling the heart, getting the heart-brain coherence, and then transcending it all. So anyways, to anybody who stuck with me for this long rant, thank you so much. Let me know what more you think I need to be talking about. Because yeah, I know it's going to be a kind of a rebirth of this YouTube channel. I'm not sure, you know, many people are going to be feeling it right off the bat, but that doesn't matter, right? It's my channel. It was my dream, my vision, my mission to raise the world. And I ended up with a Hindu audience, and I see that as the biggest blessing. But at the same time, I know that the audience was reaction channels, so entertainment, right? The world is just caught in doom scrolling, being entertained, distraction. But now we got to get back to spiritual practice. And I believe that the greatest opportunity is for Hinduism. They got the numbers and they got the highest teachings. So any other tradition is going to be limited by the belief that doing their best work is to try to get people to join them. Well, that's just pride, right? So people thinking that they're really spiritual and that they care about others, when they're not really loving them, they're just wanting them to join them so then they can be like them, and then you're good, right? Other than that, like the other, even more extreme religion, you know, they want to kill you if you're not them. So, and I know that's the extremists. I acknowledge that. Not everybody's like that. But at the same time, the Hindus are not like that at all. They accept everybody, right? And they just want everybody to get along. And yeah, so the best way to bring that into the world is for Hindus to really dive into the yogas, right? So yeah, and then of course the divine archetypes within. So we'll talk about that more another time. But anyway, thank you so much. I love you all. I wish you love, light, and blessings and peace. Wherever you are in the world, let me know where you're tuning in from, and I hope to see you on the next one. Peace. Remember, raise yourself, raise the world.